Well, what's up, guys? Hope you're all doing well out there. Frugal BC here, and quite the time in the markets right now. I have to say, very surprising to see the. Yeah, it was really interesting watching Bitcoin yesterday. So Trump announced his tariffs, and Bitcoin actually spiked. Well, we'll kind of cover this a little bit later, but Bitcoin actually spiked when he announced it, and then it kind of disappeared, which is crazy. I've never seen anything quite like that. It spiked and then it actually shot up and then it just crashed. It was like at 88,000, 88 something at one point, and then it just crashed way down. I was going to talk about my successful Bitcoin trade that I just made, which was, I'm actually kind of proud of that. Well, some things worked out. Ondo, not so much, and I can talk about my Algorand trade as well. Everyday Algonaut in the chat saying GM, good morning, Everyday Algonaut. Yeah, trying to testing out, going live a little bit earlier in the day. So we're going to try that out today and just see how that goes. And lots of other interesting stuff. So we'll get into all that today. Hope you're all doing well out there. If you are on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. Now remember, you don't have to smash it. You can just press it gently and it works just fine that way too, believe it or not. That's right. And we got channel memberships. We've had a couple new signups lately. It's always good to see. So be sure to become a channel member. If you become a channel member on stream, you'll get shouted out too. So that's kind of cool. $1 a month gets you videos before anyone else. Just about all our videos go out to channel members first, except obviously for live streams. And then at the higher tier, $3.99, we have videos that you get that no one else gets. And a lot of times it's like previews of stuff that I'm going to come out with later, where you kind of get the early scoop on it, so to speak. So keep an eye out for that. Let's see, any housekeeping? We want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Non-Fungible Domains. In fact, if I like to do these. I like to actually show you what I'm talking about. So why don't we, hold on. Yeah, so here we go. This is Non-Fungible Domains, and this is I actually do have an account on here. You can get all kinds of good stuff. El Misterioso says GM, good morning, El Misterioso. And Rowan Vionel is here. Says hello, Frugal BC. What is up? And sure some of those folks in the chat, they are non-fungible domain owners and probably have their own domain, which is really a really cool thing to have. And these guys have been around a while. Here's all the there's some recent sales you can look at and how much they sold for. They are now I believe it's a monthly or a yearly subscription, and there was originally some contention because they announced that they were going to go to this monthly or yearly, I think it's yearly actually, subscription fee, and they were not going to grandfather in people who bought domains. And after some pushback, they changed their mind. So I appreciate that, because I think that was a good idea. Non-fungible domains is the seller of all these, but I think you can sell your non-fungible domain too. They also have vault segments. I can just look at my own for a second here. Yeah, you can see I don't own any segments. That's a little outside of my understanding. But you can see all my assets, and even there's a vault where people can send stuff and then you can move it over. I'm pretty bad at like moving things from my vault, but there it is. There's Snail. And Snail, there's your coin, Gary. But what's up, Snail? Welcome to the chat. Everyday Algonaut says, Frugal, are you going to join the XGov Council as a member? I think you are a good person for the position. Registration for election is open now. Oh, yeah. Actually, I should look into that today, because I am planning to see if I can get a seat. I know there's like a stipend involved and stuff, but I think it'd be really interesting. I think I would bring a different perspective, because I'm not a builder, I'm a user. And also, like, I'm not necessarily a Algorand cheerleader, although I've just felt like there's a lot to talk about that's positive lately. So yeah, I would very much like to do that. So thanks for the heads up, every day, because I'm definitely going to be looking into it. I thought it was interesting that John from Non-Fungible Domains, by the way, when he put together a list of who he thought would be good members, I was one of the people he mentioned. I thought that was interesting. And this is our other sponsor, Marcus Aurelius. You can join the Little Stoic Army. They have Telegram and Discord. I guess Telegram is their big thing they really want to promote. They do really cool stuff, and I think I have something from them. So I might have to play a video at some point because I actually realized I didn't even put my water here. Yeah, Everyday Algorand says information is on the Algorand forum. Yep, I did see something about that. I think Adri posted something about that, who I had on my channel not too long ago. So if you guys have not checked that out at some point in the future, especially if you're watching this on replay, I would recommend going and watching that video. I think it was pretty informative. We got a good sense of like what's next for governance. And my main thing when I bring people on the channel, it's not always just to bring them on. Like usually I kind of want to have some reason to talk with them, some kind of news hook or something. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. But anyway, I'm a really big fan of this project. I think they do really awesome stuff. It's like an NFT meme coin. I own a little bit of the meme coin. You know, I feel like I got to support them if they're going to support me. So I definitely bought some of the meme coin, and I'm in their Ready pool as well. I think it's one of the biggest Ready pools out there right now, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Ooh, I really got to get water. So we'll find myself an excuse to go get some water in a second. But I just want to go through and shout out my two sponsors. I think they do awesome stuff. And so, yeah, big fans of those. Now, meme coins, you know, what I like to say about meme coins is don't put your net worth into them. You know, this is where you can play around with them. Just treat it like it's fun. Elster also says, I know I am biased, but seriously, is anything in the space more undervalued than Algo? It's not my biggest holding, but it is my favorite. I think you meant my biggest holding, and growing. Yeah. Well, I think it's just got so much good stuff going on for it. And that's not always the same as like what the market does. So, let's see here. Well, let's, speaking of the market, why don't we just get right to it? And let me know, do you guys like this time? I'm gonna go, just give me a second, okay? I'm gonna like shut my camera off here. Oops, not that one. Just give me a second. This is the markets, and I'll be right back. But while I'm gone, let me know what you think about this time slot, if you like the earlier live stream better, because that's what I'm thinking of doing from now on, and then kind of having the afternoon to work on other stuff. So let me know. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I might actually have a surprise for you. Let's see what people said. Every day says this time is better for me. Algorithms agreed. Algo love it. And Snail says don't mind earlier midday. Just love the news you bring us. Well, I appreciate that. So I might have. I forgot this was sitting on my porch like all night. Sometimes I get busy and I just forget about the mail. But we're gonna do some unboxing here. I think I have a surprise for you, but let me make sure it's actually what I think it is. Yeah, it is. It is. You guys ready for this? All right, we got a box. A box here. This came in the mail. Look at that. Oops. Marcus Aurelius, our sponsor. So it says on the back, let me doing a little unboxing video today. I'm like pointing at my monitor and not the camera. Let's see if we can get that to focus. If I put it in front of my face, here we go. It says, when you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think and to enjoy, to love. Yes, Marcus Aurelius said that. Marcus Aurelius said that, but maybe Marcus Aurelius agrees with him. I think he does. So anyway, little unboxing moment. It's exciting. Snail likes that. Yeah, I like that too. Yeah, I forgot all about it. I was like, and I hadn't ordered anything for a little while, so I saw that. I saw a little box on my porch. I'm like, what is coming? I didn't order anything. So that's interesting. Yeah, interesting. I popped into I'm going to get to the markets here in a second, but I popped into a voice spaces last night, and like some people are really, they were all very complimentary, but also wanted me to make Voy videos. What do you guys think about Voy? I'm curious because I'm not opposed to it in principle necessarily, but I worry about the idea of jumping into a whole new ecosystem is hard, and I'm having trouble keeping up with the ecosystems I have now. So I'm not opposed to making the occasional Voy video, but I don't necessarily want to. It's gonna be tough to like do that consistently and to really dive into something like that. So, but I'm curious what you have to say about Voy. I see like really mixed. People either love it or they hate it. Some people think it's like absolutely betraying Algorand. Other people think I don't think. I mean, I think John Woods is actually like pretty supportive of it. He said that he talked with. I asked him about it last time he was on the channel, and he said he talks with Chris Sweener, the founder of Voy, quite a bit. So I don't know. I actually don't have an opinion on it because I don't understand it enough to have an opinion. Snail says not sure what they're out to accomplish. I mean, me neither. I don't really know. I just flat out do not know. I think if I reached out to Chris, I think he'd come on the show, and maybe he can make the case. That'd be interesting. But in terms of like for the channel's growth, like I was just thinking about this morning. It probably is better for me to make. Probably better for me to just make more videos on stuff that gets attention, that grows my channel. And then down the road, I could be much more helpful to them than I am now. And not that that's necessarily my goal, but just in terms from their perspective, I would be more helpful in the future making Voy videos than I would be right now. But I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to bringing Chris Sweener on and seeing what's up. Algorithm says, yeah, just another Excel tab to keep up with. Oh, more than that. I mean, it's like, I try to keep up with HBAR news. The other one I can't get any traction on is Sui Network. And I actually do like a lot of stuff that Sui does. I have some problems with their centralization. I think you need like millions of Sui to run a node. So that's not very decentralized in my opinion, but there's some stuff I like, but it's like I make a Sui video and nothing happens. Like HBAR video, some of you guys watch them, some of you don't, but then usually the HBAR people, it goes out to them later and they support it. I get no support from Sui Network people. It's crazy. I'm kind of surprised. I put videos in, in their subreddits and people just shit on them, even though it's positive towards Sui. And I'm like, okay, they're probably just not going to make more Sui videos if you don't support it. So I don't know what to make of that. Anyway, yeah, we're having a little uptrend today, but obviously, yeah, sitting at 80, just under 83 for, I should probably share that, huh? Sitting at under 83 for Bitcoin. Still strongly in fear territory right now. And very much in Bitcoin season yet, which is not a surprise. El Mysterio says, find out this weekend and Monday if my Auburn pick pays off on Alpha Arcade Fund. Yeah, I had a bet in on Alabama, kind of a long shot, but I thought it'd be fun to test it out. And my sister's bracket chose Alabama. I don't know anything about basketball. Basketball still doesn't make sense to me. Like football makes sense to me. Basketball, it kind of makes sense to me, but kind of doesn't. And it's interesting. I don't want. I guess I don't want to dive too deep on a tangent about basketball, but I think especially the end game is like really annoying. The last like 2 minutes will take like 30 minutes or something like that, something crazy like that. And I think there hasn't been a lot done to speed the game up toward the end. I think the goal is to try to make it kind of makes like every game close because, or at least it allows people to use tactics that make the game a not close game still operate as if it's a close game. You can be down by like 10 points and they'll still try to like follow the other team and then quickly get down to the end and so like a 10-point deficit with like 2 minutes to go. And so in football, I mean, there's those scenarios happen too, but they don't feel artificial because if it's like a 21-point blowout, it just there's a mechanism to make the game go faster if certain conditions don't happen. Whereas, with basketball, you can just stop the game basically. Anyway, I should really get back to crypto. I still enjoy it. When March Madness comes, I usually kind of get into it. I watch some games and yeah, whatever. El Mysterio also says, not a big gambler, but I like alpha. Yeah, and I've been testing out. I've been getting little alpha payments into my para just by holding the alpha token. We'll look at that in a second. We'll get to that. I want to talk about, well, I've talked about it before, but I'll probably talk about it again. So it is nice to see a little bit of a reversal on let's look at Bitcoin here. I'm going to talk about my trade right now too. I took out a position on Ondo. Let's go to the 7-day. I took out a position on Ondo. Haven't capitalized on that one yet, but this one I bought in, let's see, probably right around here. It was 81.7 something. And I put in a sell order at 84. And as you can see, we hit that 84. So I made some money. Now what I did is I took the same amount of fiat out that I put in. So I actually increased my Bitcoin holdings without spending any money essentially, because I took out what I put in basically in fiat, but there's more coin because I sold at a higher price, if that makes sense. It was kind of funny because someone in my chat, when I talked about this on Twitter, said, why would you sell Bitcoin? I was like, you guys, I'm like, listen, first off, it wasn't like I sold all my Bitcoin. I made a trade. I made a very specific trade. Because right around here, in fact, let's put on the trading view here. Yeah, so wait, what do we have on one day? No, I don't want 1 day, 4 hours. All right, that's better. We weren't at 78. Where was it? Yeah, like I said, so it was somewhere around here that I made the trade and then ran up to it right here. So that was my trade. We were at the bottom. In fact, yeah, I gotta put let me show you what I was seeing and why I did what I did. So as you can see, we were definitely in below sub 30 on the RSI, plus at the close to the bottom of the Bollinger Band. This is what it looked like before too. We were not at the top. So yeah, I probably could have gotten a $86,000, $85 or $86,000 trade, but I still hit that 84. I still made money. So there's a difference between long-term holding and trading, like it's Bitcoin maxis there's something, man. Listen, I love Bitcoin, and actually my goal is do kind of want to continuously hold Bitcoin. I'll sell some at the top, when we crash again, which we will at some point. In fact, I might put in a buy at maybe 80, even 79. I don't know if we'll hit it again, but I might do that. So that was nice. I haven't done the math on it, so I don't know what I made, but what you can see, and you have to be careful, can't get greedy here, but whenever you see RSI below 30, especially in these are really bad here back in February. You can't see that on there, but let's pull that over so you can see that. Typically, when you have these really low RSIs, it's like a springboard. I don't know why. I don't fully understand it. But when you have this plus at the very bottom of the Bollinger Band or underneath it, you usually have a huge spike up. And even these little ones, when you touch below it, so you can get a little trade, just don't get greedy. Here we are at 78 to that one pumped up to 83. So, if you said 79 to 82, bought at 79, put it on a sell at 82. And I always do these through Coinbase, and I do these as I do limit orders. And that way I don't have to be paying attention. Like this happened overnight. I would have missed, oops, hold on. This happened overnight. So I'd have missed this if I didn't have that limit. So Tiny Man, in fact, let's look at Tiny Man, because it is supposed to be, I don't know if they added it. No, they didn't. So they're supposed to be adding a limit order feature. They haven't added it yet. And I'm excited about that because I have a trade in on Algorand too. And my trade is 200 algo at 20.055. I could have cashed in for a small profit when it hit 21 something, and I was waiting for 22, did not happen. But it'll be a lot easier when I can just put the limit order in. So I could do this on Coinbase. I just did it on chain just by swapping. And so yeah, we're waiting for that to occur. But for now, it is what it is. So anyway, that's Bitcoin. And we had some fun. We had some fun with that yesterday. But it's always, if you can make a profitable trade, make a profitable trade. But that's different than long-term holding. And not everyone's going to want to trade. It's something I just play around with. I hear these theories and I'm like, okay, let's test it out. That's what my whole point of my channel is, by the way. My whole point of my channel is let's try it. Let's actually try it and see if it works. So the other one I want to do, but I have to buy a TradingView account, is this one called Arch Public. And supposedly they let retail investors trade benefit from quant trading like a larger investor would. Algorithm says it's always good to lean into the BTC dominance before swapping into some of your alt picks. Yeah. So the XRP is doing pretty well. 7% on the daily. Who's doing well in the 24? Let's take a look here. Wow, Cosmos up over $5. That's pretty good. Actually, Algorand's top 3, man. So Algorand's sitting at 10.5. I knew I should have put a trade in around 7. I was going to do a second one, but I didn't want to keep track of 2, but I should have. It would just be so much easier if you had limit orders. So I'm really excited about Tiny Man adding those. They haven't yet. Something called Kaya, I guess. Pendle, that's been around a little while. I've talked about this before. There's always these coins. Well, Sonic was FTM. There's always these coins that just come out of nowhere. And PayPay didn't do an all right. Maker. See, Maker was one of the reasons I do my podcast, or I do my YouTube channel the way I do it, because Maker was one of the first projects where I learned about DeFi, and it sounded really cool. The people on the podcast that were talking about it were like, "Oh yeah, you can make all this money and you just do this and it's really easy." And then I went to use it and it's what a nightmare. The whole Ethereum thing was just because it's based on Ethereum and it works like garbage. I was so mad. It was well, first off, you have to do pretty big numbers because you have to make it work with the gas fees. So you have to make more than the $20. There's a bunch of stuff that were Ethereum based that I tried out that were just they didn't make so you couldn't do a small experiment. You had to do a big experiment. I don't like that. Yeah, Jupiter on Solana, Jasmy Coin. Yeah, XRP, like I said, 7%. That's pretty good. Doge, okay. But all this is like we're not even into highs that were set in this bull cycle. Like we had much higher XRP. We had almost $3 XRP, as I recall. Am I right? Let me check. I can't remember. Does it have year to date or not? No, 1 year. Yeah, that's right. We were actually over $3 at 330. So, I mean, this is a good chart, though. This is a really good chart. I did really well in my XRP. I wish I had bought more. It felt like a 50-cent stablecoin for the longest time, and then it just like exploded. So yeah, and it was probably a good. There probably were good trades to be made on a lot of stuff. Yeah, unfortunately, Ondo wasn't one of these high pumpers, so didn't get much out of that. Yeah, Cardano, Optimism, it's stupid world coin. Yeah, so weirdly enough, Solana not one of the top pumpers. Look at Gala Games at less than 2 cents. This is really bad. This is one of the worst charts I've seen. I'm going to show you why. So I used to make a lot of Gala content. Yeah, look at that. It was higher. It was way higher like a year ago. That's bad. That's real bad. Did peak up at like 6 cents. Yeah, the thing is, if you put in these sell orders, I mean, you'll hit them eventually, probably, unless the coin just crashes. So if you don't get it right away, just hang on to it a while. You'll eventually hit it. This one I don't know though. This is a really bad chart. Yeah, Gala. I think Gala people are just sick of Gala. They still have their fanboys because everyone does. Every chain does, but I think a lot of people are getting really sick of Gala because I think it's just a scam. Like everything is so scammy about it. People bought NFTs and then those NFTs don't do what they said they were going to do. The earnest function on some of the games is totally different. A lot of the games don't come out. They sell really expensive NFTs for games that like are in the earliest stages of development. It's kind of insane if you ask me. Snail says I really like NCT, Polyswarm for an RWA. Third on my list. Also Farm, Harvest Finance because it has very low supply. And the Trump coin's still up here. There's my Ondo. Yeah, Ondo only did like, so I'm actually up. I can maybe close it. Because it's up like 4%. Yeah, I think I put it in at $1. That was a mistake. I think I set it up too high. I should just take my win. Because that's not bad. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, so that's coin market cap. Overall, pretty good day compared to yesterday. And it was interesting. I was watching live. And I just watched Bitcoin. First, it actually spiked right after Trump announced his tariff policy, which was surprising. It was kind of falling a little bit. He announced it, it spiked way up, and then it just crashed. And I mean, it crashed like crazy. That's wild. Yeah, let's see. Let's go to the Algorand. Let's go to Vestige now. You guys know Vestige. We're on the 4-hour chart if you're following along at home. Yeah, so we're outside of trading territory right now. In fact, if you had taken a trade here at the bottom of this band, which isn't even that good, So this one's actually kind of unusual because it didn't hit below 30. It is below 40. And below 40, honestly, you can still sometimes catch one of these. But this one was an obvious one. It was RSI was at 24.35, popped from 17.5 cents to 19.25. So you definitely could have made a decent trade there. I've been thinking about the percentages too. You have to be really careful on the percentages. My Ondo one, that was too much. That's like a 20%. Actually, hold on. I just want to see if I can I might close out that Ondo trade. This is my sell. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of my sell. Is there anything? Yeah, I don't want to. Okay. Oh, can I just delete the order? I'll just make it 82 cents. We'll probably hit it. Well, screw it. Let's do 83. All right. I just changed my order. I probably could have, instead of taking, that'll be a few bucks. I think we'll get there. Anyway, back to Algorand charts. So not really like trading territory. Hopefully we'll pump up a little more, but I think the buying opportunity is over for a little bit, but we could see a crash down in a little bit. So let's keep an eye out for that. But let's see what else is going on. Kosh token, that's a new one. There's always a new one in popular. Algoros Viking and this fish stick. You guys know about this fish stick thing? I swear there's just like a new one there's like a new one trending every time I look. Yeah, Tiny's doing a little bit better. That's nice to see. It was like around 2.1 cents, and now it's almost heading up towards 2.4 cents. Actually dropped down a little bit, but actually I had a really good Tiny Man haul. In fact, we can show it. I don't mind showing this stuff. Let's yeah, we're back over 9,000. Yeah, it's actually like $4. That's pretty good. 161, and what am I getting next time? 151. So it's already decreasing. This number, and funny thing is Tiny was bragging about this number, this 14.5. It was 35%. It's already down to 14.4 because this changes depending on how many people are in it. So I got 161 to claim, but next time I'll have 151, and hopefully it's actually better than it was. They said it would be better than last time, and that is better than last time. I'm doing better. Oh, what am I getting for fees? Yeah, and $3 for pool fees. So that's actually better. I was getting more like $1. But we'll see. There might be because of a lot of swapping. Hopefully, yeah, hopefully. I wonder if those two are tied together. They might be. I think it's just, oh no, I think it's a straight share. So anyway, that is Tiny. I'm gonna take that out. Chips not having a great week. Some are though, like Compex token is doing well. Vestige is up on the week. Voltcoin is up on the week. Munko's actually up. How's my Munko doing? Oh, got like 81. That's still down. That's still down quite a bit from where it was. Yeah, remember what I said about the typical ASA curve? This one just is spread out a little more than they typically are. But still, that kind of big shoot up, big shoot down, and then kind of a trickle off. I call it the ASA boot pattern. Yeah, it's not great. Not great. Oh, hold on a second. I just want to check our. You guys got any ASAs that you like best? Yeah, it's really hard to get viewers on Kick. Oops. I gotta stop doing that. Let's see what else. Yeah, Coop. Well, actually, Coop is in the. Hey, Coop is in the top 10 now. That's new, and Busk is still hanging on. It'll probably be out pretty soon, I think. But this is really interesting. Coop made the top 10 now, right behind Munko. It looks like it had a really good week. Not so good in the last day or so, but did pretty well. Did pretty well on the week. I just wish you could. Well, I could look at it. What's Coop's chart look like? Does this look familiar? he's had a couple runs. Coop is an interesting project because Coop started it. He put all this. He basically gave it all to the community. Sold everything he had, as far as I know. And yeah, it's down a little bit right now, but it's actually one of the lowest it's been in some time, but has been quite a bit higher. But as far as a week, that's a pretty good week at least. So hopefully better things are coming for Coop. I think some of these coins, if you can get in on them early, if you can catch that ride up, just look at where you are on the chart. Some panda thingamajobber. If it goes to here and you're not selling, I don't know what's wrong with you. I mean, there's some people that think you should just be loyal to coins and not ever sell. And I'm like, this is an investment. You have to decide if you want to make money, right? Isn't that what we're all here for? It's totally cool also to just be like, I'm going to buy this project and I'm just going to hang on to it because I like the founder or whatever. Like I bought this one just because I like Feely. She's cool. Did not do well. This is like the really typical ASA. Here's the truth about these coins. Like you have to just constantly be talking about them. Constantly. Snail says when the next wave of new users come to Algo, faces will melt. Well, we'll see. Snail says I need tacos. How's Taco Coin doing? Taco is one of the people I was talking to last night. I didn't actually join. I just listened to the space. I didn't sign up as a speaker. It's flattish. Isn't always a bad thing. Interesting. Well, I want to pull up this is why I wanted to bring up Alpha. Look at this chart. That's crazy. It's practically a stable coin. Maybe there's another one, but I've never seen a chart that looks like this where it's just flat. I mean, that's actually kind of ideal because if you're making money off of holding Alpha. So here's the deal. If you buy Alpha, which is the coin of the Alpha Arcade, I should move that over. This is the coin of the Alpha Arcade. You earn rewards like a share, like kind of a profit share basically from the house. And you get it in USDC. So you don't even have to like worry about swapping the coin or whatever. You just get it. You just get it USDC. So I put $10 in and I've been getting like half a cent basically every couple days. So I'm waiting. I'm kind of keeping track of it. I want to see like how frequently. So what the percentage you get basically is. But that's not bad because you can just hold on to it. Snail says they did great between C Algo and Mouge. ASAs on LPs, I definitely stay away from those because you're just gonna get impermanent loss. That stuff makes me really nervous. That's Alpha Arcade. So I saved some stuff. Let me dig up some things here. Oh, I know what I want to talk about. Actually, it's much better for traders to go to Gold Dow token, for example, because it's pegged to range on 90 cents to $1. Well, I'll tell you what, the very best, my favorite LP that I ever had was US dollar coin, US dollar tether on Tiny Man. You can't lose. It's just free money. There's zero risk because it's unless you well, I shouldn't say zero risk. There's never zero risk. I mean, one of them could significantly deep peg and never recover. And in fact, when I found out that Tether was leaving Algorand, I was like, yeah, I got to get rid of this. Like we don't want to like be holding the bag here, but man, stablecoin pairs, I mean, that's just free money. It's pretty much free money. This is kind of funny. I don't know if you guys ever follow Mars, the Mental Marvin guy. You okay, bro, Algo? It was actually leading. It's not anymore. It was doing better than XRP, than Hedera, Cardano. And like I said, not anymore, it's not, but it was. Let me see. Just a moment. But for traders, better to buy low, sell high. So if it's pegged to the range, it's better. If you're trading, but LPs, why would you do LPs for trading? Just do LPs for yield. I mean, it's like free yield and you can't lose. And that's like as good as it gets in my opinion, but like people can disagree, I guess. Well, I'm going to share this because yeah, live streaming. So we watched the live streaming. I watched the live streaming in real time really, and it was crazy. Oh, he really had that. You want to hear it?
Nice crowd. What a good-looking group of people. Well, we have some very, very good news today, and a lot of good things are happening for our country.
Yeah, watch. You gotta watch this. This is wild. Just watch what the price is doing. In fact, oh, you can't see it. Hold on. Okay, here we go.
Country, please sit down. My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day, waiting for a long time. April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again. We're going to make it wealthy, good and wealthy. For decades, our country has been looted, pillaged, raped, and plundered by nations near and far, both friend and foe alike.
By the way, like the interesting stuff is in the beginning. It gets really, really boring. In fact, I just bailed after a little while because it was like really repetitive. But just watch the price of Bitcoin.
American steel workers, auto workers, farmers, and skilled craftsmen. We have a lot of them here with us today. They really suffered gravely. They watched in anguish as Foreign leaders have stolen our jobs, foreign cheaters have ransacked our factories, and foreign scavengers have torn apart our once beautiful American dream. We had an American dream that you don't hear so much about. You did 4 years ago, and you are now, but you don't too often, and for many years and decades even, you didn't hear too much about. Our country and its taxpayers have been ripped off for more than 50 years, but it is not going to happen anymore. It's not going to happen. In a few moments, I will sign a historic executive order instituting reciprocal tariffs on countries throughout the world. Reciprocal, that means they do it to us and we do it to them. Very simple. Can't get any simpler than that. This is one of the most important days, in my opinion, in American history. It's our declaration of economic independence. For years, hardworking American citizens were forced to sit on the sidelines as other nations got rich and powerful, much of it at our expense. But now it's our turn to prosper, and
This is funny because just watching it, when I was watching, I was like, oh man, it's already tanking. But just wait.
in so doing, use trillions and trillions of dollars to reduce our taxes and pay down our national debt, and it'll all happen very quickly. With today's action, we are finally going to be able to make America great again, greater than ever before. Jobs and factories will come roaring back into our country, and you see it happening already. We will supercharge our domestic industrial base.
Look at that candle. Man, that is some red. I mean, it was like barely down and then it just dropped. But you know, it gets crazier. Just watch.
We will pry open foreign markets and break down foreign trade barriers. And ultimately, more production at home will mean stronger competition and lower prices for consumers. This will be indeed the golden age of America. It's coming back. We're going to come back very strongly. We're pleased to be joined on this momentous occasion by Vice President J.D. Vance. J.D., thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Most of it is like this, by the way. There's like a minute worth of actual news versus like basically him just going around and acknowledging people for 20 minutes or whatever.
Where are you, J.D.? No, that wasn't too hard to find. I was looking, he likes to take a low-key attitude, so usually we sit right in front. He's gaining a lot of confidence, Mike, isn't it? And nearly my entire cabinet is here, as well as Speaker Mike Johnson, who's done an amazing job. And with the great success we had last night in Florida, we have a majority of 7. And 7's like a lot when we had it at 1, right? You've done a fantastic job. And many of the members of the House and Senate are with us. Senators, Congressmen, thank you all for being with us. We appreciate it. For decades, the United States slashed our trade barriers on other countries, while those nations placed massive tariffs on our products and created outrageous non-monetary barriers to decimate our industries. And in many cases, the non-monetary barriers were worse than the monetary ones. They manipulated their currencies, subsidized their exports, stole our intellectual property, imposed exorbitant VAT taxes to disadvantage our products, adopted unfair rules and technical standards, and created filthy pollution havens. They were absolutely filthy, but they always came to us and they said, we're violating, we should pay for it. It's all detailed in a very big report by the U.S. Trade Representative on foreign trade barriers, and I'll just hold it up for you. It's available, and you don't have to pay too much. As I understand it, you'll pay nothing. It's a lot of work for something, actually, because it's a special book. It's very, frankly, it's very upsetting.
Frugal, do you see the effects of this already in prices in the shop? It should be quite instant, right? The idea with tariffs is to increase prices for populations so that the locals can compete. I don't think it would be instant. honestly. A lot of times these prices take time to kind of trickle, the effects take time to trickle down through the economy. So I don't think it would be instant actually. But it's interesting because we haven't had these a tariff policy like this in a really long time. So I think a lot of people aren't really, there's a lot of theories about the effects, but I always want to see what actually happens because so far, a lot of things that were, people were complaining about egg prices. Well, the egg prices are starting to come down. That's already been happening. I've actually been seeing prices decrease, and my understanding is that current CPI is at about 1.4%, so well under the 2% target finally, which I think started happening under Biden, to be fair, and it's been climbing downward. One of the things with inflation that I think one of the things with inflation that I think people forget about Biden is that his administration really was slow to acknowledge it and kind of refused to acknowledge it was happening. Then when it became too stark that they couldn't not acknowledge it, they started telling you it was a good thing. And then finally they got around to, actually wanting to solve it. And then one of the things that really frustrated me, even people like Noah Smith, who I used to kind of respect, I've kind of lost respect for him since he blocks everybody who even gives him the remotest little bit of pushback, like respectful pushback. It's one thing to block people who are like just being obnoxious. I get that. But someone who's like legitimately saying, hey, wait a minute, you think you got this wrong because of XYZ. If you're blocking those people, I just don't have a lot of respect for your intellect because you should be able to make the case. But people like him were saying like when inflation was at like under 4%, they were saying inflation was solved. I'm like, that is not solved. That's still high. Like 2% has been the target. And the reason 1 to 2% is that target range is because it's the amount of inflation that tends to still foster and allow for GDP growth while also not really, people don't really feel it as much. And if you want to say it's pretend, like it's definitely not pretend. Like there's so many examples of like this where, for instance, there was a Chinese place I used to go to and get takeout, and I could get a little General Tso's chicken and an egg roll for like just under $8. Now that's like 12. That's 50% difference. The crackers I get at Aldi, the box of crackers used to be like $1 something. Now it's like it's over $2. And the thing about it too that I think they missed is that when prices go up, or when you have high inflation and you bring it back down to normal inflation, that's still not deflation. That means overall prices are still up and you still haven't made up for that gain. Now, I have seen things in my life go down, or in my day-to-day life actually decrease in price, especially at the grocery store. Eggs are not one of them. Eggs are crazy, but eggs, that's kind of a separate issue because there was a thing with the bird flu or whatever. But I think it's just amazing to me to hear people who ought to know better. And it just seems like they're making an ideological point. That's the best I can think of, because I really have a hard time understanding how they can say something so dumb like, oh, we got inflation, basically defeated. And it's like, not really. You're going the right direction, and that's good. I'm glad we brought it down. And then there's people who will try to say like, I don't know, there's this crazy modern monetary theory that is the premise seems to be, oh, you can just print a ton of money and it's fine. It's like, no, it's not. Every time we've printed like way too much money and overcooked the system, the prices just go up. That's how it works. So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to address that. So I'm kind of curious what impact it will have on prices. It kind of depends on how other countries react. Some of these are weird. There's tariffs on countries where we don't, I think they don't even send us anything. Like they don't export anything to us and vice versa. So it's like, why even bother? I don't know. It's really strange. And I'm very curious to see how this goes. I'm really curious what will transpire because we really don't know. There's a lot of people saying what they think will happen and they all have different opinions, but the proof will be in the pudding. There's so many different variables. And I do think it seems odd the way he's handled it. So It's kind of funny how this is like, you kind of can't help but talk about politics now if you're doing crypto, because it's just so interconnected, especially lately under the Trump administration, but even under Biden. We talked about Gary Gensler in the SEC all the time. So I'm kind of surprised this cuts off, actually, but let's keep going here.
Upsetting when you read it, when you see what people have been doing to us for 30 years. This all happened with no response from the United States of America, none whatsoever. But those days are over. Let me offer just a few examples of the vicious attacks our workers have faced for so many years. The United States charges other countries only a 2.4 tariff on motorcycles. Meanwhile, Thailand and others are charging much higher prices, like 60%. India charges 70%. Vietnam charges 75%, and others are even higher than that.
Damn, you see that? Look how fast that happened. It's crazy. There's more too. There's more.
Likewise, until today, the United States has for decades charged a 2.5 tariff. Think of that, 2.5% on foreign-made automobiles. The European Union charges us more than 10% tariffs, and they have 20% VATs, much, much higher. India charges 70%, and perhaps worst of all are the non-monetary restrictions imposed by South Korea, Japan, and very many other nations as a result of these colossal trade barriers. 81% of the cars in South Korea are made in South Korea.
You see that? That's crazy. Look at that. 87. It's almost at 88. Like, did you see how far? That's like $1,000 move in, like, a minute. That's crazy. Man.
Korea. 94% of the cars in Japan are made in Japan. Toyota sells 1 million foreign-made automobiles into the United States, and General Motors sells almost none. Ford sells very little. None of our companies are allowed to go into other countries. And I say that friend and foe, and in many cases, the friend is worse than the foe in terms of trade. But such horrendous imbalances have devastated our industrial base and put our national security at risk. I don't blame these other countries at all for this calamity. I blame former presidents and past leaders who weren't doing their job. They let it happen, and they let it happen to an extent that nobody can even believe. That's why, effective at midnight, we will impose a 25% tariff on all foreign-made automobiles. Thank you. Brian, I'd like to have you come up here for a second, okay?
That is quite the candle. I mean, that's wild. And then it just goes down. The rest is really boring. So you just, because this is all after the announcement, just look at. Oh, it actually went up for a little bit. Oh, he doesn't even share that part. Because, I mean, it crashed. It's funny because you see this and you think, holy crap. But I don't know why it's cut off, because he streamed. I know he streamed way more of this. Or did he cut this out as a video? No, he was sharing that in real time. Yeah, I don't know what happened, because it went on significantly longer. So I'm not sure why I'm not sure what's up with that, to be honest. Because, yeah, it just crashed out after that. And that was like kind of after the actual news happened. There just wasn't that much there after that. Because there's what actually happened. And this is interesting. Because, like, yeah, here we saw this candle, right? We saw this go up to almost 88, and then it just tanked. Just tanked. Look at this. Look at that. I mean, that's crazy. So I asked people on Twitter what they thought happened here. And I don't know. There's something about how are people so certain about everything? I don't understand this. When you have something new and unusual happen, and everyone's like, oh, it's just this, it's just that. So this one I respect this because at this point it feels like the market is being very heavily manipulated. There is no news, no way we have this much retail selling off at once. So I'm not really like. First off, I like that there's a little bit of uncertainty here. It's not so much, well, it's just this. Fisherman says liberation. And here we go. It says Joker, S Mega Trump. Chart has been yelling 72K for so long. It's tariff day. US just got liberated. Winning at losing. Trump's a jerk. Tariffs. And it drives me nuts. It's driving me nuts. This is also the tariffs. This part right here. This is why it drives me nuts. You guys weren't paying attention. You guys weren't paying attention. Not you guys, but the people in my chat on Twitter. This happened with the tariff announcement, and then it crashed. That's really, really bizarre. And no, it's not just tariffs, because tariffs did this and this. That's what's unusual. That's what's weird. That's crazy. How does that happen? How do you... I still don't understand it. You know, was it just independent? I mean, it could just be coincidence. It could just be total coincidence, but I don't... It just spiked when he was speaking, and when he was actually announcing the tariffs, as you saw, when he actually was talking about the policy, it just went bananas. It went up to 88, and then it just really fast crashed down. So is this people taking profits? People put in trades and they hit 88 and they're like, cool, sell, boom, done. I don't know. Well, and the other thing is we've heard this narrative that the prices are already, that everything's already baked in. Like we don't really get news pumps anymore because everything is so anticipated already. But then what explains this? You know, how did this spike and crash happen? Chuckle is interesting because he has some background. Panic selling is all based on rumors and fear. I don't really pay much attention to it. I simply stay the course. Buy dips, add to LP. They said, yeah, but it spiked during the announcement of the very bad news. Also, we were told this was priced in, like the crypto summit. Trump tariffs were more than expected, should be then, and it's causing fear of a trade war that sparked the sell-off. Down, futures are down. Futures are down 1,000 points. I didn't pay much attention to what CNBC or Bloomberg says. Well, I wasn't paying attention to them either. I was watching it in real time, but back when I was trading fixed income professionally, we had flat screen TVs, multiple walls, playing CNBC and Bloomberg on mute. On mute, yeah. Well, I mean, we were just watching the price. I said, but the Bitcoin spike, but BTC spiked, I should have said spiked, when he announced it. Wait, this is really small, sorry. Let's zoom that out. There we go, that's a little better. It says, yeah, but I said Bitcoin announced it, or is it your thesis that futures market clawed Bitcoin back down? Bitcoin will trade in tandem with indexes. Did index funds do that too? I don't know. I wasn't watching them. I was watching Bitcoin price with the announcement for All In Crypto's post. So I don't know. I don't know what happened. Anyway, I guess this is interesting because I find it so fascinating that people are always so sure about this stuff. Like there's never any doubt. They're just like, oh, it's just this. Well, I don't know that you know that. I don't think that anybody knows that. And it really, I think a lot of people could use a sense of curiosity with some of this stuff. This is kind of a cool piece of news here. Brand new stable coins that are MiCA compliant are coming to Algorand. They'll be available in Folks LPs, which are EURQ and USDQ are coming to Algorand, powered by Quantos. And yeah, according to that, since November 2024, EURQ and USDQ have $50 million in trading volume. Trading pairs will be available on Folks Finance. Are they going to other ones besides that? Well, Kyle, at least for Alpha, great news. I don't know. What do you think about this? I'm just looking at some of the comments and people are really bullish, and I think it is a good thing, but also, I don't know. We already have like a euro stable coin and a USDC stable coin, so it's cool that it's MiCA compliant. That means in Europe we'll be able to use it. I don't know if that's like a giant, huge deal, but it's interesting. I thought this was kind of interesting too. Link, apparently, according to Lunar Crush, is one of the most popular coins, followed by H bar is pretty high up there. AVAX Ondo is up there. I like Link too, by the way. I should probably make more videos on them. Inject protocol or whatever it is. VeChain's up there. Maker, Pendle, ICP. Algo not doing too bad. 2,000. You know, it's not as much as some of the other ones, but it's definitely up there. That's cool. I talked about Maker. I'm not the biggest fan just because of the way the protocol worked. XGC, where's Bobby Jonas at? Our big XPC guy. This Brian, the worker from some factory, is expert to global economics. Yeah. No, it's weird because they have these I don't know, Trump made this like deal with the Teamsters. Robinhood is a link market maker. Interesting. There's some C-Pool. I don't know what that is. Token ZBCN. You notice what's not on here is all these scam coins that get mentioned in my comments. Oh, you can't keep up with them, dude. You can't keep up with them. I swear to God, there's a new one because like there's a feature that allows you to block words, and usually with these scam tokens, I copy and paste it into there, but you can't keep up. There's a new one every time. Every day there's a new one, and you can't keep up with them, and they crush you. Prop C, man, there's so many coins. Land? This is crazy how many coins there are that I haven't heard of on this list. And they're like popular enough to get a lot of mentions. I mean, I've heard, then there's ones that like Pendle that I've heard of. I just don't know a ton about them. You know, ICP is one of the bigger ones. I like ICP. I think it's interesting. I was wondering too, because ICP, one of their main things is that you can use like any language, but you have to have this WebAssembly layer between the actual protocol and the coding. Whereas, which WebAssembly is kind of what lets you take, you know, everyday Algorand probably explain this better than I could, but it allows you to take like some project and put it on the web as like an intermediate layer. Everyday probably knows a lot more about that than I do. So that's the difference. Like Algo is just like direct Python coding, and now TypeScript. I think JavaScript is probably coming next, huh? I don't know. Everyday might know. I'd be curious. We talked about that. Yeah, so my Ondo trade didn't go as well. Those are the markets yesterday. So we were talking about, I'll get myself out of the way for a second here. Oops. There we go. Man, that is a lot of red. I mean, I've got a pretty decent Nvidia holding. I mean, decent compared to what I started with, that's for sure. Look at that. That's bad. That's a bloodbath. Apple, like Apple's deserved. Man, Apple's just so. Oh, JavaScript is TypeScript? Really? Damn, I didn't even know that. I thought it was a whole different language. How come they don't just call it one or the other then? But what about was I right about the WebAssembly? Did I explain that well? Anyway, yeah, Apple like ticks me off because like they're just getting worse and worse. And I saw a tweet from someone who at least claimed, I don't know if they for sure did, but they at least claimed that they worked for Apple and they quit because like it was a culture of like it's really hard to get fired now, and so people just kind of hang around and don't do a lot of work. And also like if you try to work really hard, it's if you try to work really hard there, Like there's like a culture of complacency that they kind of try to pull you back and slow you down. That's not good. That's not good. That's not good for innovation. Like that's the opposite of what you want to see. But that's what some of these big companies become if they're not careful. I really I've said for a long time that I think Algorand is in, or not Algorand, poor Algorand. Apple is in managed decline, or its value extraction phase, and I don't think this is wrong. I mean, so they deserve the cut down. I don't think Nvidia deserves it. Anyway, I just wanted to show that. Google, no one had a good day. Some people just didn't have as bad a day as the others, but no one had a good day. But they're kind of up now. In fact, no, it's still bad. Here's what the 5-day looks like. Down. It was trending up, and then man, even monthly, even in 6 months, we're actually down over 6 months. That's crazy. Year to date, obviously, we're down like, that's a lot to be down. TypeScript is JavaScript with types. All right, we're going past my area of expertise. I played around with JavaScript a little bit. I did like a tutorial on it, but mostly I've only coded in Python. And even then, at the you could barely call me a hobbyist, basically. But it's fun. I like playing around with it sometimes. I used to code data visualizations, and now it's just so much easier to use ChatGPT. This is just my own. There's me. What did I have for bookmarks? You guys heard about this? Apparently, Zoop and HBAR Foundation apparently are trying to acquire TikTok. We gotta look more into this. TikTok. OnlyFans. Hold on a second here. OnlyFans founder Crypto Foundation submit late stage bid to buy TikTok. The startup run by OnlyFans founder submitted intent to bid on TikTok. The startup Zoop is partnering with a cryptocurrency foundation, which is Hedera, by the way. Zoop, you should put Hedera on your headline. That's crazy. A startup run by Tim Stokely, founder of adult content social media site OnlyFans. Never heard of it. I kid, but yeah, I mean, I think it's funny. I'll admit I follow a lot of the girls on Instagram who do this, but I don't sign up for their. It just seems like I get enough from their Instagram, so I don't need to go on their OnlyFans. And I don't really have any interest in the parasocial relationship, which is probably fake anyway. Most of them just have like a content house, or what would you call it? Like they have like kind of a farm of people, mostly or probably men who are responding in their behalf. So yeah, not interested. Anyway, so Tim Stokely is partnered with a cryptocurrency foundation to submit a late stage plan to acquire short video app TikTok from Chinese owner ByteDance, the two said Wednesday. The intent to bid was sent this week to White House by Zoop, billionaire Stokely's new company, and the HBAR Foundation, which manages the Hedera cryptocurrency network. Is Amazon's bidding on them too? Yeah. I actually don't watch TikTok at all. I don't have it on my phone. I was making content for TikTok for a little bit, thinking maybe I could bring people over to YouTube that way, but I just don't like it. Like I actually didn't, it wasn't like, oh, I like this too much, I got to stay away. I actually didn't. I just found it annoying. I don't really like short form video very much in general. Hold on, I can't show all my tabs off here. Okay. While OnlyFans is known mainly for pornography, Zoop is mainstream and family friendly, gives back the majority of its revenue to those who post on the site, rewarding them for driving up user engagement. Huh. I don't know what it is though. What is Zoop? Is it just another social media site basically? It's a terrible name. Zoop. I don't know. Maybe people. The thing about names is like they sound really terrible until something becomes really popular. Then you just kind of forget that it's like a dumb sounding name. Like now we just say Apple and we automatically think Apple computers. But once upon a time, think how if you just think about like pineapple computers, like it sounds like a dumb name. And Apple computers probably sounded like a dumb name in the beginning. The partners have been working with a consortium of investors. Phillips said he declined to provide details on the bid or the investors backing it. On Wednesday, Amazon also put in a last-minute offer to buy TikTok, the New York Times reported. U.S. President Donald Trump is expected on Wednesday to consider a proposal for TikTok to decide the fate of the app used by 170 million Americans. That's like half. Not quite half, right? No. Wait, what are we at? 380 million? So, yeah, not quite half. ByteDance faces an April 5th deadline to either sell TikTok or face a U.S. ban on national security grounds under U.S. law that took effect January 19th. So, whatever. I don't think we need to read this whole thing. But, yeah, it doesn't affect me, but I know people who it will affect. There's actually a guy from my area who is running like an agency managing TikTok people and like connecting them with ad services and whatnot. And he's just started a huge TikTok content house. So when he comes back to town, I'm going to sit down and interview him, and it should be pretty interesting. But he's from my little neck of the woods here, and this can be bad for him if it doesn't go through. When is the deadline? When is that deadline again? Dun, 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 dun. Oh, I missed it. Oh, April 5th. Well, that's like tomorrow. That's interesting. Yeah, so depending how that goes, I'll have a very different interview. I mean, I thought it'd be pretty cool if they had it on chain, and so you could, it'd be hard for them to not be transparent with your data if it's all on chain, I think, personally. TikTok running in blockchain would not only be great for crypto, it would do wonders for creators, users alike, to have more control over their data and get more of a cut. That's what I'm saying. Actually, that's really maybe if Zoop takes it over, I'll like get into TikTok, because if they have the same mindset towards helping, kind of putting a lot of the money back into creators, like that could be a good business, good little business. Yeah. Think about OnlyFans side of this with Zoop. That would alone be massive. So hopefully this partnership works out. I think that's pretty interesting. I also thought this was really interesting. Look at the number of accounts. No, this was like in mid-March, around the 12th, 13th. They had this huge spike up. And this was shared recently, so I'm not sure like what the deal is there. Well, no, actually, hold on. It says 1 day. Oh, no, I take it back. Okay. This is like the European way of doing it backwards. 3-4 instead of 4-3, I think. Interesting. Oh, yeah, 22, 24 hours, then 2 hours. Okay. Yeah, so I don't know what that huge spike is, but it's pretty interesting. This says TravelX. Could be. Cassia says stay calm and huddle. It's probably all new fish holders. This apparently, what is this? Yeah, I heard there's a big, huge block. Someone thinks it's fish. I don't, probably not that. Quantos. Yeah, who knows? Well, because it's not transactions, it's a lot of accounts, right? So that could be TravelX. I don't know. Interesting. Let's see what else we got. Saved a couple things for you. Oh yeah, this is kind of sad. Maybe we'll close out. Well, maybe I don't want to close out on a bad note, but this was from Oz. So Oz created the the one-click node, OS one-click node it was called, apparently 2 years ago. And that was kind of groundbreaking because no one else had a platform like that where you could basically just like hit a button and it worked. Mostly, I had some issues with it trying it out, but I was on really old computers, so that probably was a big factor, I think. But he also did the pirate game on Algorand, which I haven't touched in a really long time. And he also had HighForge, which was an NFT platform. So this guy's like a builder, man. I mean, this guy builds. Anyway, some sad news, he says. And I met him at Decipher in 2022 in Dubai. Crazy trip. And yeah, he was really cool, like really nice guy. Very smart. These people building on the chain, man. They're smart people. Me, I'm just like figuring out how to use this stuff and how to make money on it. But the guy's building, man, I give you a lot of credit. Anyway, he says, I built OS one-click node 2 years ago for free and open sourced it because there was a need in the community. Now that governance is over and NodeKit keeps improving, the need is no longer there. Actually, though, NodeKit doesn't work on PC. It's Linux and Apple, which is interesting. But then there's another one. Gosh, I think it's from, I can't even think of I think Loot Wallet makes it. I think, and that one does work on PC, I believe. So therefore, I'm officially sunsetting OS one-click node. For those currently using the app, you don't need to take immediate action. The app will continue to work for some time. However, when a new consensus upgrade comes out, like P2P, which should be coming pretty soon, I believe, then OS one-click node will no longer work. So whenever you have a spare weekend, you should migrate to NodeKit. Thanks for the memories. Yeah, I gave him some shout outs. So did other people. Yeah, thank you for building it, OS. You've filled a massive need when no other solutions existed. 100%. Folks Finance, thank you for building this critical tool. Massive thank you for your work. Legend, thank you for building. This is a great send-off. People give him a good send-off, and it's well-deserved, He built this when no one else was building it. Didn't make any money off of it. I wouldn't hate it, I wouldn't hate him making money off of it. There's a way to do it. But he didn't, just put it out there. Careful, he's a hero. Yeah, look at that. Not one negative comment. And good, well-deserved, I think that's awesome. So maybe that's not a bad way to go out. Was there one more thing I wanted to talk about? This might be kind of interesting. I've updated the website to showcase what we built for projects. Perks are rewards. This is from Realms. Realms is the metaverse project on Algorand. And it says, perks are rewards given to projects that rank high on the league table each month. If a project has unlocked all available perks, our design and development team will move on to the next project on the table. We are thinking about creating a system where if a project ranks high on the leaderboard but has already unlocked their perks, then they will be able to gift perks to other projects. I don't know a lot about this because I haven't monkeyed around with. I don't have a project on it. And Fractal Labs, I don't hear much about them anymore. Which love all. Happy stacking, says Snail. Happy, thanks for being here. Hope you enjoyed it. These are some of the projects that are in the leaderboard. Darkcoin, I don't even know Darkcoin. Marcus, of course, sponsor of the channel. Big fan of them. Gecko Fam, Billy Big Beak, Ghetto Pigeons, we know them. Fractal Labs used to be a sponsor back in the day. Now I don't hear from them. It made them money too. I know I sent some big whales over their way. Algo Leagues, Hoy, X Mons, Munko, Akita. Akita's been around a long time. It's like an OG Algorand project. One of the most, it's probably the most OG on this list, I would say. Yeah, well, I think it's getting to be about lunchtime, so I think that was fun. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about my trades and the Trump tariffs and all that fun stuff. So if you haven't hit the like button already, please do so. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, feel free to subscribe. Otherwise, I think that's it for me. Hope you all doing well out there. Have a good Friday. Have a